Okay, so now time to talk about my thoughts on week 10 of the NFL season. And so first off, talking Broncos Chiefs, because I always do Chiefs first. And so if you're watching this on my YouTube or my TikTok page, I've already done a video talking about this game. And so you guys can check that out if you want. But I'll talk about this and Bengals Ravens again anyways, even though I have videos on both. So basically, some overall thoughts on this game. The defense, it wasn't a great showing from them, to be honest with you. You know, they did what they needed to do to ultimately end up winning this game. And another thing that I will say is that, you know, they had a couple good moments and everything. They were able to, you know, kill some Broncos drives and get some sacks and just stuff like that. You know, Chamari Connor and George Karlaftis and Leo Chenal, Drew Tranquil, Chris Jones, like, they have a great defense. It's just the showing this week wasn't as good as I hoped. You know, I have to be honest with you guys and everything. And I said the same thing last week. I hope the next week they get better because they're going against a good Buffalo team and they had some good plays, don't get me wrong and everything, but that's something I noticed. Offensively wasn't necessarily the best either, to be honest with you, and big problems at the tackle spot, right? Wanye Morris got injured at some point in this game, and so Kingsley had to come to fill in, and the results were not good. Mahomes was getting pressured all game. I think he got sacked 4 or 5 times, something like that, and the defenders were just constantly beating Kingsley and getting to Mahomes and getting that pressure on him and stuff like that. So that was concerning. You know, Morris came back in the game a little bit later and was able to do something. But even just looking at the other games this season where he has started at, I think it's left tackle or whatever, there's multiple times where he's got beat as well and just not been able to, you know, hold back the defenders, and Mahomes has got sacked or pressured or stuff like that. So honestly, they need to get a better tackle in the next draft. I'm not really loving what I'm seeing, to be honest with you. So I think that was a problem as well. And there was just multiple drives that they weren't really able to get a whole lot of momentum and stuff like that. And Mahomes missing throws. I think that there was a missed throw to Kelsey, and, you know, they had some trips to the red zones where they weren't able to get the touchdowns and stuff like that, which was kind of frustrating to watch. And yeah, I mean, Mahomes had some good plays. He's always going to, you know, have moments where he scrambles and basically makes a huge gain out of essentially nothing. So of course he had some good plays and everything. I think he had 1 touchdown this game, no interceptions, which I'm thankful for as well. So I think offensively a whole lot, they couldn't get going and everything. So I think, you know, those things were definitely things that stood out to me. And yeah, we know that he's working through the injuries and everything. Not having Rasheed Rice, I think, has been a huge blow to this offense. Obviously, no Hollywood Brown, no Pacheco and everything, so I will say that. Just the team has played better. They have played better. Honestly, this just wasn't one of their best plays. And so, you know, I can definitely say that. I think that in the end, the defense and special teams obviously really came up clutch with that blocked field goal. And Dan Orlovsky, he actually broke this down, but he showed like all the field goals that the Broncos had and like extra points. And like the first time, I think they didn't block it. And then like they kind of just like figured everything out and like, you know, and at the end they were able to block it. So that was a big thing. And I was just so excited whenever I saw that happening. I wish you guys could see my reaction to it, but I was hyped because I really thought that it was basically game over, that they were going to lose this game, the streak was going to end. And so for them to do it and have that huge effort, I was pleased. So I will definitely say that. One thing that I can't stand people saying on social media, oh, everything is rigged for the Chiefs and blah, blah, blah. First, it's all these calls that go in their favor and whatever. And now y'all trying to tell me that them blocking a field goal, like somehow it's rigged. Like, can y'all give it up? Like, the Chiefs are a very well-coached team and you cannot really coach effort. Like, they just want it that bad and they have a huge standard to themselves. So I think that there's a lot of BS going on there. The Chiefs are just a good team. Every single week they find ways to win. And so next week, I just hope that they play better and that they were able to beat this Buffalo's team and everything. But, you know, say what you want about the Chiefs. They're a great team and they're also so much fun to watch. I don't care who they're playing. It's always going to be an interesting game. So, you know, they came up clutch. So, you know, happy about that and hope they perform better next week. Quick thoughts on the Broncos. I thought that they played a pretty good game. Got to give some kudos to Bo Nix because I said he wasn't going to do shit. You know, I said he sucks and everything. And so I own my words and I always will admit when I'm wrong. He played a really good game. No interceptions, unfortunately. Broncos defense. Now I'm seeing why they're the number 1 defense in the NFL because, you know, I felt like they fell asleep versus the Ravens. They got beat. What was it, 41-10? They got their ass beat. So, you know, defense showed up today. They played a pretty decent game overall. But everyone says this. When you play the Chiefs, you basically have to play a perfect game. You make any mistakes and they will capitalize on it. And they did that. So, you know, Broncos can probably make a wild card spot, maybe win a playoff game, you know, and we'll see what happens in the future. But, you know, they played a really, really good game. So I definitely have to give credit where credit is due to the Broncos and just, you know, all that respect. And, you know, the reactions to the blocked field goal have been hilarious. I will say that. Bengals Ravens, like I said, I did a video on this, but I'll talk about it again. So some quick overall thoughts. The Bengals, Joe Burrow was on a heater yet again. I believe he had 4 touchdowns again this game. Jamar Chase had over 200 yards receiving. He had 3 touchdowns, and they still couldn't win the game because, as I say every week, the defense is fucking shit, and they sell out every single week. Besides like Trey Hendrickson and BJ Hill and like 2 other players, their defense is not good. Zach Taylor is basically a terrorist cosplaying as a football coach, and I'm just tired of this. The coaching that they get is abysmal, the defense is abysmal, and they just give up all these plays every single week, and it just gets so hard to watch at a point because you see what Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the offense is doing, and then the defense just sucks. The play calling is absolutely awful, and so I'm just tired of it. Like I said, if I'm Joe Burrow, if I'm Jamar Chase, I'm getting out of Cincinnati after this season. I am so sorry. I'm going to the front office. Either you get rid of Zach Taylor and this putrid coaching staff, or you're getting rid of me. I am so sorry. That's what I would do. If that doesn't happen, then demand a trade. I am so sorry. It has to be that way. I can't keep seeing this happen every single week. It's painful for me. Joe Burrow putting up an MVP season, Chase putting up Offensive Player of the Year season, and their season is getting wasted because the defense is fucking shit. Like every single week this happens. Cam Taylor-Britt is absolutely awful, and I don't know how people think he's a good player. Every single week he gives up a touchdown. He couldn't hold on to the interception to save his fucking life. How many times do I have to see this shit? I'm so sorry. Okay, so like that's the thing that really irritated me. And they had, a 14-point lead or something. They were doing good, and the defense choke job has to be studied yet again. Also, there was the penalties that were not called whenever they had the 2-point conversion. I think there was, 2 penalties that weren't called, so we had to have that conversation. There was face mask penalties that weren't called and stuff like that. But at the same time, Bengals had their chances, and, they fumbled it. They literally fumbled it. I think there was a fumble in this game, too, as well. And, like I said, it goes back to play calling, because why is it 3rd and 2, 4 and 2, and you're taking deep shots down the field instead of just running it and getting the first down? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm so sorry. Like, this team, it just pisses me off. Like, that's why I keep saying this every single week. But yeah, Zach Taylor has to be fired. I'm so sorry. At this point, I want the Bengals to get blown out in disgusting fashion. I need it to be 60 points. I need it to be 70 points so Zach Taylor can finally get fired from this job. I've been saying this for weeks. I have had it. Okay, so that's my rant on the Bengals, and I spoke on that longer than expected. In terms of the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is still MVP of this league, I fear. Yeah, they were down in the beginning. It wasn't looking pretty. But, when his team needed it, Lamar stepped up. He got some great touchdowns. He had a really great run all the way down to the 1-yard line, which was absolutely insane. And he just does exactly what he needed to do. Derrick Henry is absolutely eating yet again. Had another touchdown this game. He's had a touchdown in every single game this season, so that can't go unnoticed. The defense had some good plays. Marlon Humphrey had a good play, but fuck him. I told you guys last week I don't like him, and I will be standing on business. And they just made the plays down the stretch that they needed. Like I said, there were some penalties that weren't called and everything, but at the end of the day, Bengals had opportunities to win this game, and bad play calling and not executing, that's what got them in this position. So I can only say stuff about penalties for this much, and so yeah, it shouldn't even come down to a 2-point conversion, because if they just made good plays and executed like they needed to, then they could have had a bigger lead, but they didn't do that. So, that's on them. So that's what I have to say about this game. I think it's a great game to watch. I really do. Bengals, Ravens, this is going to be, 2 games circled on my calendar every single year, because they always deliver. I hope we get this again in playoffs. Because this is just such a good matchup, I fear. But yeah, definitely, some of the best quarterbacks in the league. Have a lot of respect for both of them. I like both teams. I hope the Bengals can figure it out after the season. And yeah, that's my thought. Next up, Giants, Panthers. Didn't watch this game because I don't care. I'm glad that Bryce Young got a win. Congratulations to him. And now on to Patriots, Bears. I watched the condensed replay of this, and the condensed replay is so goated, guys. I should have been watching this weeks ago, honestly. And so overall thoughts on this game, Drake May just outplayed Caleb Williams. He made a lot of good plays down the stretch, a lot of beautiful passes. So I definitely have to, give him kudos on there. He had a boneheaded interception, which is why would you throw that? But overall, I thought he played well, and the Patriots just did exactly what they needed to do to win. In terms of the Bears, offensively, it's not looking good. Offensive coordinator needs to get fired. Matt Eberflus, and he needs to get fired. I know he is, the defense guy, but his record is absolutely abysmal. I think I saw the record of him on like away games, and his record is absolutely awful. So I think he has to go. It's been years. Your record is not good. I'm blaming you at this point. And people said ever since the Hail Mary's been downhill, I would agree. Wide receivers look like shit. Gonna sell every single week on my fantasy teams. That's guaranteed. And they just never seem to do enough. Caleb Williams consistently holds on to the ball for too long. I said this whenever they played against the Texans, and watching this game again, because I feel like this is the first game that I've watched fully of a Bears game in a couple weeks, he's still doing that. You're running into the defense and trying to scramble and stuff like that, and just not making smart decisions as well. So yeah, I think that's partially in him. So a bad play calling, not executing, wide receivers seemingly giving up, and the team, the locker room, it's just cooked. So yeah, this offseason, Eberflus, the offensive coordinator, have to go, and hope that they can get some, better things around the team, around Caleb, so they can have a better next season. But this season is cooked because they still have a very tough schedule ahead. They got divisional opponents. Green Bay Packers are whooping their ass, and they're certainly getting beat by the Lions, and they still have to play the Vikings, who I think are definitely a better team, even though it seems like it's going downhill for them at this point. The 49ers are going to beat them. Like, I really don't know if they're going to win any of these remaining games. Like, they are cooked. I am so sorry to tell you. And I've seen what I need to see. 19-3 is awful. It really is awful. And, that's all that I can say at that matter. Bills Colts, another game that I watched on replay. I will say this: Josh Allen had a rushing touchdown, which is good for him and everything. He had some decent plays down the stretch, as Josh Allen does. So yeah, this was a game that I expected him to win, I'll say that, and everything. And Josh Allen, I think, had 2 interceptions this game, something like that. And the Josh Allen turnover machine narrative is up and it's running, guys. First few weeks he took care of the ball beautifully, and now it's turnover after turnover after turnover. So yeah, we gotta clean it up. As a Patrick Mahomes fan, I'm glad that he's cleaning it up too, but if you watch my channel or my TikTok, I was on his ass about those turnovers because it's gotten ridiculous. But they did enough to win, so I give credits to Josh Allen and co. He is one of the best quarterbacks in this league, and after these past 2 weeks, I am ready to put him in my top 5 quarterbacks in this league. So I will give credit where credit is due to Josh Allen and the Buffalo team. Joe Flacco, he got picked off 3-4 times. One of them was a turn for a pick 6. Didn't look good. I know Anthony Richardson, tapped out, and it was messed up to do that. But at this point, put him back in. Joe Flacco is not doing you guys any favors. Let Anthony Richardson develop. You guys are going to keep losing games anyways if you keep leaving Joe Flacco in. No shade. Vikings Jaguars. So I did not watch this game, but the Vikings won. I think Sam Darnold had a few turnovers, and everybody said it was giving Sam Darnold a disaster class, which I said was coming. And so yeah, 12-7, they were able to win, and Doug Peterson needs to be fired from everything that the streets are telling me. Falcons Saints. This was one I was gonna watch on replay. I just didn't get to it, and so I thought the Falcons were gonna win this game, and somehow the Saints won. But I think this is just them kind of getting some juice after their head coach was fired, which I feel like I said he should have been fired because his record is awful. He went 7-10 for 3 consecutive seasons in a row, and you're telling me they're just now pulling the plug on this man? I don't get it. I don't get it. And so I'll have to look back and see what happened, I guess, if I go and decide to watch this on replay. But yeah, it is what it is. I think that the Saints season is still cooked, and they're still going to lose, and Falcons are in prime position to win the NFC South. Next is the 49ers Buccaneers. I said the 49ers were going to end up winning this game, and they did, 23-20. And so I was going to watch this game, and I opted to go with the Bears game instead. And so, streets are saying Jake Moody is missing a bunch of field goals, that they should replace him with the other kicker. And no shade, after that Super Bowl kick got blocked last year, I had a feeling that they should let him go. I don't know if I said that or not, but, multiple missed kicks this year, and missing, 3 kicks in the game is awful. And if he would have put those away, then you wouldn't need to win on a field goal as time expired. So at this point, I'm agreeing that he has to go, so I will definitely say that. They said Pearsall had a good game and everything. Brock Purdy did what he needed to do. I told you guys I locked Brock Purdy as a quarterback, probably top 10 quarterback in this league to me. So yeah, this was expected. And I mean, it being that close with Baker missing 2 of his weapons, I got to give kudos to him. And like I said, after watching that game versus the Chiefs, as a Chiefs fan, I had to give him respect, because missing those weapons and still being able to perform, I mean, hey, it's not easy. So I'll definitely say that. Steelers Commanders, I did not watch this game. I thought the Commanders were going to win. The Steelers win it by 1 point, so congratulations to them. Titans Chargers, I feel like I said Chargers are going to win this game. They do, 27-17. I didn't watch this game. Jets Cardinals, I didn't watch this game, but 31-6 is awful. It really is, and I feel like I picked the Cardinals to win. And Eagles Cowboys, I did watch this game. Eagles put belt to ass in this game, and like I said, Eagles my favorite team in the NFC, so I was pleased to see them win this game, and they looked great out there. I think that there was, a fumble or interceptions and stuff like that, so, Jalen Hurts, gotta be held accountable for that, but he has been great this past, month. I think in all of October, he had no interceptions, and he has one, and some of y'all turning on him so quick. Like I said before, y'all too hard on that man. He's a top 10 quarterback in this league, and so they did exactly what had to be done. Shout out to the offense, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Offensive line is always great, so I was just pleased. What can I say? Dak was out this game, so they had that working against them, but even with Dak in, I didn't think that they were going to win because the Cowboys have been awful this year, and so it was a good game to watch. Next up, Lions, Texans, Sunday Night Football. This was actually a good Sunday Night Football matchup and everything. And so I made a video on this one too on my channel, on my TikTok, if you wanted to see that. But some overall thoughts, Jared Goff MVP conversation is over. It really is. And when I said that on my TikTok comments, everyone, he's still MVP, conversation not over. 5 interceptions in one game is awful. I don't care who it is. Let Lamar Jackson do that. Let Allen do that. Let Mahomes do that. Let Burrow do that. Y'all will be on their ass. And rightfully so. 5 interceptions is awful. I am so sorry. And I told you guys, I like Jared Goff a lot. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in this league. I shared my top 10 quarterbacks this season a week or two ago, and I had him at number 2. So I like Jared Goff. I'm high in him. Don't get that mistaken, but 5 interceptions is a horrible performance no matter who it is. Y'all can't make excuses for that. I am so sorry. So number 1, we have to have that. And I'm pretty sure that their left tackle or, one of their offensive linemen was missing. I believe it was Taylor Decker. So obviously that's going to affect everything because they're going to be able to pressure Goff more and all that stuff. But, he made some boneheaded throws. So, let's have that as well. He has to be held accountable for that, And towards the end, he was able to make some smart decisions and get some touchdowns and have some good plays. So I will give him credit for that. But the 5 interceptions is awful. Jared Goff MVP conversation, we pulled the plug on that. It feels eerily similar to whenever Brock Purdy played against the Ravens last year, and I think he threw 4 interceptions, and then I had to pull the plug on the Brock Purdy conversation because he got exposed. It is what it is, guys. I'm sorry. And so there was that. But, Amon-Ra St. Brown had a touchdown. They were able to get something going with the running game. And, they just won this game because they were gritty and they were just able to get something going and they didn't give up, even though Texans had a pretty good lead. What was it, a 16-point lead or something like that? They were rolling in the beginning. They really were. And then it just went bad. Just picking someone off 5 times and still losing the game, that's crazy to me. I thought CJ Stroud looked decent for the most part. He had 2 interceptions, and that's on him. I will definitely say that as well. I thought the Texans defense, for the most part, played pretty well, picking off 5 times, so you had that. But they just couldn't close out the game. There was multiple times where they had drives that just kind of stalled and everything, and I think that goes to just bad play calling. I think they had a trick play, and I was like, why are you doing that here? The run game really wasn't that sufficient, so part of me was like, why are you guys running it so much when you guys aren't really getting anywhere with the run? And so, some bad play calling. So, Bobby Slowick, he might have to go, no shade. So there's that. Yes, Nico Collins is injured. Stephon Diggs is injured. I understand that. And I don't know. Offensive line, I felt like looked better than it did the last time I watched a Texans game and everything. And I don't know. They definitely got to make some changes in the off seasons. I'm not going to put this on D'Amico Ryans as much as I'm putting it on the offensive coordinator, because D'Amico Ryans is the defensive minded head coach, and the defense I feel like did pretty decent and everything offensively. Weren't able to execute for the most part, and down the stretch, and then defensively, they tried their best. I don't know. I hope the Texans do better. I like them as somebody from Texas. They're the team that I root for. I hope that they can improve. I think Nico Collins is to come back. They're missing Will Anderson Jr. I understand that, but there's problems there. So Lions, it was good that they were able to win, despite 5 interceptions, but also at the same time, part of me feeling maybe they got exposed a little bit. I don't know. They could still very well be the team to be in the NFC. I could see them going to the NFC Championship game again and possibly the Super Bowl. We will see what happens. I like the team. I thought it was a good game. That's what I can say. Dolphins, Rams. So watching this game, I felt like it was very boring, to be honest with you. You know, there was some interceptions and they kept turning the ball over, which is kind of intriguing to watch, but at the same time, just playing sloppy, undisciplined football. So I will definitely say that. I picked the Rams to win this game. You got Puka Nakua and you got Cooper Kupp back. And, you know, they had a good win. I think it was last week, I believe. And it was against the Vikings or whoever that they won against. They had a really good game. So I just thought Matt Stafford and co were going to go and they were going to win because the Dolphins lost, their last two games, even with Tua back. So I kind of just thought that they were going to win. And so the Dolphins, from the start of the game, they scored a touchdown and they were just able to do what they needed to do. Tua is still playing CTE ball. His brain is cooked, you know. And I feel like I said that last week, but he had another play where he literally just runs with his head first. And then you can see him get a hit. And the week before, he had a very similar play. So Tua, it's like he's learned absolutely nothing. And I just feel like he knew that he was automatically going to go back in. And he just went tunnel vision, like, tell me what I need to do. And I feel like there was no consideration of not playing, no consideration of retirement, no consideration of anything smart. Because why are you not wearing the Guardian cap with your history of concussions? Why are you not doing that? Why are you still going head first? Why are you not sliding? They shouldn't be clapping because he slid, 2 weeks ago? You should have been doing that the whole time. You haven't learned fucking shit. Like, he pisses me off so bad with that. So that is definitely something that I will say as well. Tyreek Hill was kind of ineffective this game, to be honest. He said he had some injury after he got arrested and stuff like that. So there was that. And they were probably having a lot of defenders on him and stuff like that. You saw more of Achane and the running game kind of going, and him using Jalen Waddle, for example. So you kind of had that. But, you know, Tua made some good plays for the most part when he wasn't playing CTE ball. And so I will definitely see that. The Dolphins, I think that they could probably get in as a wild card spot if they keep playing decently and everything. I still think that their first round exit, I still don't see Tua winning a playoff game this year. But hey, that's just my take on it. It just wasn't that compelling of a game to watch. For Monday Night Football, why did you guys schedule this? I'm so sorry. This made no sense in my opinion. But hey, that's just me. And, you know, these are the bye teams. No Browns, no Packers, which is unfortunate. I love to see Jordan Love ball out. No Raiders, thank God, and no Seahawks. So, yeah, that's kind of my takeaways. Let me know who you guys have on your fantasy teams. I put a lot of fantasy football teams, and they have all various lineups. And I won all of my fantasy matchup this week, I believe. So, yeah, I was kind of on a heater. So, feeling a little thankful because some of my fantasy leagues I've been selling. I can't lie. Who did well for you? Who didn't? I think Zay Flowers sold out for me again on fantasy, so that wasn't great. Xavier Worthy has not been really great for me on fantasy. They need to stop running all these BS trick plays. So there was kind of that. Let me know your favorite game this past week. I would say Bengals-Ravens was definitely the best game. Other games I liked, Lions-Texans, and then I would say Chiefs-Broncos. And let's kind of continue that conversation. All my videos on the NFL will be linked somewhere at the end of this video and in my description if my links are working by then. And so you can like this video if you enjoyed it. You can leave a comment, which helps a lot. You can share the video. You can subscribe to the channel or follow me on my TikTok page where I post this. But thank you so much for watching as always.